So this chapter is about understanding how computers are connected to each other. Once there was a time when we had the computers with us, but we didn't have, we didn't connect the computers together. We used to work independently on individual computers, and if we had to copy data from one computer to another, we used to have different types of disk drives, like floppy disks, or even before that they had different types of disks, and we used to copy small amounts of data on those disks and then carry those disks physically from one location to the other, and then copy data to another location. But then after the invention of computer networks, it became very easy that you could transmit or receive data on the networks. And the internet is the best example in modern era of a very big network. It's a worldwide collection of networks. Actually, it's not a network, it's a collection of networks that connects millions of businesses, government agencies, and education institutions, individuals all across the world. And now it is actually, you can actually add to this internet enabled devices. And these are something, and by devices I don't mean your computer based devices. These are devices which may look different than a normal computer. So you can say IoT. So this is a word, IoT. So it is short for Internet of Things. So there is an idea, a concept which has been roaming around for a while now. This is called IoT, and IoT deals with the you know all the devices which you use. So you may have heard that nowadays your ceiling fan is IoT. If it is an IoT ceiling fan, you can turn it off or on or change its speed from your smartphone. In Pakistan, you can see air conditioners. They are selling air conditioners and refrigerators who are IoT based, and you can simply communicate with your device using internet. And that is why I say that internet is a collection of networks which connects millions of businesses, government agencies, education institutes, individuals, and the internet-enabled IoT devices. So all of this started in 1969 when a company called ARPA. ARPA was the name of the company. It was a United States, owned company by under the control of the Pentagon. This is short for ARPA is short for uh, Advanced Research Projects Agency, right? So this is the company's name, and the net was added just to emphasize on the fact that this is inside the Pentagon. There is an organization known as ARPA, and inside ARPA they have a network which is known as ARPANET, and it started in 1969. And they had two locations, and they two of the states or two cities in the United States. They had collection of computers, and they connected both of those collections using a network, and that network became ARPANET, which later formed into the internet. The objective of starting this was that you had to allow scientists at different physical locations to share information and work together, and which it did. The scientists, it was very easy for the scientists to exchange data from one city to the other, and it functions even if part of the network were disabled or destroyed by a disaster. So it also offered, you can say, redundancy or stability or for the data on the network. So, for example, some part of the computer network was not available, the rest was still able to work. So that is kind of a good thing for the network. So then, after 15 years, in 1984, ARPANET had more than 1,000 individual computers linked as hosts. So all of those computers were connected to the this network, and there were 1,000 computers. And back then, it was still a big number because we didn't have personal computers in those times. They were not everywhere. So it is 1984 now, and now in today's era there are millions of hosts which are connected to the internet. And actually, I would seriously think about this term. I would think about calling it billions now. Again, as I said, due to the invent of Internet of Things and all the devices which are internet enabled, the numbers have really gone up. So now an average human being, carries somewhere around 5 to 10 devices which are internet enabled, right? So your cars are internet enabled, your appliances are internet enabled, you sometimes own different computers and mobiles and tablets and laptops. So all of those things add up to the number of devices that are available to you, which are internet enabled. So the number, I think, would be in billions now, right? So Then with so the question is the smartphone considered a computer in technical terms? Absolutely yes. Some of the computers in the world, they are special purpose. Let me yeah, special purpose computers, right? And then there are general purpose computers. So I would say that the mobile devices are, although they are strictly speaking, they are under this category, or you call them smartphones now, right? So smartphones. So this category actually, there should be like laptops, personal computers, desktop, computers, or desktop personal computers. So all of these things are like general purpose computer. Why do I say that these are general purpose computer? Because you can write programs and change the functionality of these computers if you want to, but you cannot write programs inside this while remaining inside smartphones, or you cannot write programs for other devices staying inside smartphones. So they were not originally meant to do these things, although it is extremely easy if you want to do that. You can have functionality added to it, and you can write code on the smartphones as well. With wired connections, a computer or device physically attaches via a cable or wire to a communication device. So examples are, for example, you have a broadband modem, and inside the broadband modem, you see that your fiber optic cable or copper cable is connected from the pole from outside. And then there are different ports which are placed at the back of that router, and you can connect your computer directly using wire. So those are wired connections. Or if there are wireless capability in the modem, which all of them have these days. So computers without a communication device can use a wireless modem or other. So there used to be computers which did not have built-in Wi-Fi modems inside. So you could purchase a USB Wi-Fi adapter, and you could plug it into your laptop, and your laptop would now become Wi-Fi capable. So back in the days when we were just having the transformation from wired to wireless age, we used to do that. We used to, when we didn't have modern computers, we used to do that. But there are still modems you can see out there, because again, if at some point in time in future, if our computers would come with the capability of fiber optics built into them, then we won't even need this modem then. So this is how you connect to the internet. So wired connections, the examples are cable internet service. So in some neighborhoods, you see there are copper cables laid down by third party private people, and they charge you money for connection, and that is called cable internet service. Then you see digital subscriber lines like PTCL DSL service. It's very common because it runs on the phone lines. And then you have fiber to the premises. This is becoming more common now, and you can have fiber optic cable directly to your inside your house, and there's a modem that and these are signals, not electric signals. These are optical signals. These are signals based on light. So there is a light source. It gives sends signals to you, and light is much more whether light is fast or not is not the issue. The main thing is that when the distance of copper becomes more than some meters, the copper offers so much resistance to the electric signals that the electric signals drop a lot. But it is not the case with fiber optic. So you can extend the length of the fiber cable to as much as you want. The light which is running inside the that optical cable, it does not dissipate, because the cable is built in such a way that the light remains with the same intensity. There is no resistance to light. As far as you can go, there will be tolerable resistance. So it is much better than copper, and that's why definitely you get a lot of good speed. Wireless is, you all know Wi-Fi is something we have short for wireless fidelity. Then there are mobile broadband internet services. These are wireless. Then fixed wireless internet services. They're less frequent but still out there. And then there are satellite internet services. So all of these are available. You can opt to, or you can choose different services if you want. What would you think if I ask you what is the you can say your considerations should be for getting subscription to any of these devices? Because so there are again, you are all right, these are different factors that you can consider. Cost is number one in my opinion, then speed, then another thing, data limit. You need to watch for that. Like for example, just to give you an example, Evo 4G, the maximum they offer is 150 gigabytes. There's a fiber optic company out there, they're offering 1000 gigabytes in almost the same price. So and the speed is like 3 times more than Evo. So you have to watch for this data limit. How much data are you getting? There could be other factors like region. Region also dictates whether you should go for wired or wireless. For example, in Pakistan, wired connections always have problems because it's a developing country. All the time you see there are new constructions happening. Yeah, so these are different factors that you need to consider while making a wise decision to purchase subscription for different types of internet connections. And what is a hotspot? Hotspot is very common nowadays. It is inside your phone now. You can convert your phone into a hotspot. Hotspot simply is a source of Wi-Fi signals. So you can convert your device, or you can have actually all your modems also have a hotspot inside of them. So you can turn it on and you can use the modem using wireless hotspot. And all of this internet is being provided by someone called an internet service provider. So yeah, then the issue comes, bandwidth represents the amount of data that travels over a network, right? So bandwidth, my question to you guys is, what do you think megabyte is the units for? Let me change the question a bit and let me ask you that is gigabytes, megabytes slash gigabytes are or let me megabytes or gigabytes uh, units of data size or data speed? So the answer is that it is the unit of, these are the units of data size in as opposed to data speed. Data speed units would be megabytes per second. This could be data speed unit, or by the way, data speed is also known as aka bandwidth. Data speed is also called bandwidth, right? So megabytes per second is units for speed, and similarly also kilobytes per second, kilobits per second, these are all units for the megabytes per second are also units, megabits per second are also units, right? So these are, so what's the difference between this capital B and small b? This capital B is, by this I want to say, is bytes, whereas small b is bits. And that's a huge difference, that it's not to be taken lightly, kind of different, these things. So if I say, if you experiment, for example, and you find out that it took 5 minutes 5 minutes for you to download a 500 megabytes file. For example, there was a video file, the size of the file was 500 megabytes, right? So how would you define or find out what speed you have, the download speed? What is the speed? So that is a question that you could be asking yourself. What is the speed of my network? So what will you do? You will simply take 500 and you will 500 divide 500 megabytes by 5 minutes, right? So you will say that the speed is one because 500 divided by 5 is 100, and you can say that it is 100 megabytes per minute, right? So I'm and let me write small m for this. So this is short for megabytes per minute. And let me tell you some things. The marketing people in most firms, you know what they do? They always market data speed in kbps, and let me show you what that kbps means, right? So I'm going to convert this 500 megabytes per minute into kbps. Okay, these are the units which are used by marketing people, right? So right now my units are having bytes and minutes, whereas these units have what? Bits and seconds. This is short for kilobits per second, and by kilo we mean 1000, by mega we mean 1 million. I hope you guys know that, right? So I'm going to take this 100 megabytes. So 100 divided by 60 is 1.67. So you have 1.67 megabits per second. So then I have to convert it this bytes into bits. So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits, so I have to multiply this with 8. So I will get megabits per second. So the answer becomes 1.67 multiplied by 8 is 13.3. So I will write 13.3 megabits per second. We are close but not there yet, so we have to convert this mega into kilos. We have to multiply this with 1024, which is almost 1000, which is by the way, 1000 is short for kilo in normal circumstances, but in digital domain, in binary domain, if you have to write kilo, you have to write 1024. So 13.3 multiplied by 1024. Now the units will have become kbps. So now we multiply this with this thing and you get 13,653 kbps. Now picture this. You downloaded a 500 megabyte file in 5 minutes over the internet, and the speed you received was 13,653 kbps. By the way, this could be simply written as 10 megabits per second. This big number, this could be written as 10. And if they were really true to the customer, they would have written 10 divided by 8, which is 1.25 megabytes per second. This is the number which really makes sense and is important for a consumer. Bits are of no use to us, to the consumer. Why are they telling us bits? So they should be telling us in bytes, because these are the numbers. Because you always say that my file is 500 megabytes. You never say that my file is like 1000 megabits. So that's a wrong number to use. So that is only thing why they do it, is because they want their numbers to look very big, so that the consumers, the clients, are attracted to that number. It is just as the name suggests, it is satellite internet service. It is a service that you directly purchase from companies which offer this service, and you should have a satellite receiver, and that satellite receiver will receive data directly from the satellite, and that will be called satellite internet.